Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a short video, and I just want to point out a few things I've noticed in regards to the release of characters and character-specific quests that come along with them. If we look at a few of the early release characters like Klee, Tartaglia, or even Xiao and Ganyu, seeing as they were almost about a year ago, the quests for these characters were so much more interactive and impactful. Now, for example, for Klee's quests, you followed her as you try to find her little bomb thing. I don't know what she calls it again, I don't have the character. And when it came to using her as a test character during the quest, you actually get to use her for a whole domain, from the start of a domain to the end of a domain, which was at least about, I don't know, let's say 10 to 15 minute playthrough of a whole domain. You know, if you're taking it slowly, 10 to 15, let's say. If you're doing it a speed run, maybe like 5. But for the most part, 10 minutes was the kind of standard amount of time you would use the character in the domain for Klee. For Klee specifically, and also for Tartaglia, because during Tartaglia's, you did a quest where you run through a puzzle, a literal puzzle domain, where you are testing him out as a character, trying to prevent his little brother from getting hurt or whatever. Just as, it's a spoiler, but it's old as hell, but whatever. And this gave you optimal amount of time to test the character, use their burst, use their skill, use their normal attack, charge attack, all the sorts. You look at Xiao's quest. Xiao's is another really good example. Xiao's quest takes you through a domain as you try to do stuff with the Star Snatcher guy, who isn't a real Adeptus. Bit of lore for you guys. And again, you had an apt amount of time to test both the skill and the elemental burst. And my big thing about this one is it's a practical situation. All these domain fights are put into a practical situation instead of the test run where it's all kind of formulated for the character. And then in Ganyu's quest, the game literally tells you, now this is one of the tasks for Ganyu's quest, it tells you, go do these challenges and use this ability to do this. It literally guides you through the character. That's literally what the Ganyu quest does. It guides you through the character to use her abilities and whatnot. But if we now slowly and very hesitantly look at more recent characters like Ayaka, Yoimiya, Raiden Shogun to an extent, and as well as Kokomi, Mihoyo has more than half the amount of time you actually get to play the character during their quest. During Ayaka's quest, you get to play her for about, let's say, 5 seconds. You get to defeat 4 to 5 Kairagi, and that's it. That's all you get to really use her for. During Yoimiya's quest, you get to use her for a bit longer, defeating about 10 to 15 enemies, and then one little mini boss. Not really, like what is that? 10 seconds compared to Ayaka's 5 seconds. They tried to redeem themselves, not really though. And then Raiden Shogun's quest redeems itself a bit, and you go through a domain defeating a few enemies. But still, it's nothing compared to the early game characters like Klee or Tartaglia. And then the character who inspired this video the most. Kokomi has the most disappointing character showcased during a quest. And for those who haven't done it, there won't be any spoilers for the quest, so just don't worry about that. But as for the amount of enemies you get to fight as Kokomi during this quest, and can I get a drum roll please? Total of 3 Fatui enemies. Oh my lordy lord. God Mihoyo, what are you doing to the people? The people aren't getting to play the character. What are you doing to them? Please. Come on. Why is it that we are limiting the limited time stuff even more than it already was? And that's my thing right now. I just don't understand. I really just don't understand what Mihoyo are doing. And at this point in the video, you're probably wondering why this matters. Well, I've got a few reasons here. Well, reason one is that during the actual quest, the characters are put at Constellation 3. And why this is important is because in the test run, the characters are actually put at Constellation 0. And so during the test run, you can test the character and they'll have, you know, just the weapon and themselves to deal damage. But then during, let's say, the character quest, you get a very small amount of time where you get to test the character out with a bit more power, with about 50% more power essentially, or let's say 25%. Because the first 3 constellations are pretty much mostly power boosters. For Kokomi specifically, 2 of them are a power booster, 1 of them is a healing booster, but still it is some sort of power boost. And essentially, having Constellation 3 as a potential thing that you can test out during the quest gives players who are skeptical about rolling on Kokomi or further rolling for constellations, it gives them a bit of a snippet or a bit of a sip of the taste, the juice of the power that can come from constellations for this specific character. And let me tell you something, testing Kokomi on 3 enemies, I didn't even get to use her elemental burst. That is dumb. I killed those 3 enemies before getting her elemental burst and didn't get to test any damage with it. As for the second reason is that it drastically changes the interactiveness of the quest and how much the player is actually involved during the quest. Because I can tell you from experience that during the Xiao or Klee quest, it felt good just using your burst and your skill and the normal attacks and all the different attacks that the character has to achieve what the quest was telling me to do. So for Klee, it was getting the bomb. For Xiao, it was proving that he was a Adeptus or whatever the hell it was. I can't exactly remember Xiao's one, but I know you played him for a lot. But in general, it just felt rewarding to do those early quests like Xiao, Klee, Ganyu, Tartaglia. It felt good, fun, and like I was a part of the quest, like I was actually there. But after doing Kokomi's quest, it just felt like I was playing a cookie clicker game with the amount of dialogue there is to actually skip and so little combat to actually do. And for my third reason, this one's been brought up by many people and it's kind of just a comment on Mihoyo itself, but this whole decline in quest quality and quest interactiveness with the players is kind of just, it's going to change the people's mentality when they think of Mihoyo as a game dev team or whatever you want to call it. Now this might not be the fault of the dev team itself, might be the higher ups who are dictating what happens, but in a sense it's still something to take into consideration is that this whole shift in like availability and being limited more and more during the quests and during certain things, limiting in power, different design philosophies when creating a quest and whatnot, it's just something that's going to negatively impact the dev team and the game name as a whole, really. And you know, that saddens me. I love Genshin Impact, I love the concept, I love the game's amazing, but you know, I've been getting more and more disappointed and more frustrated with the game as of recent, and you know, all I'm gonna say is that the future isn't looking too bright, at least not as bright as it was when the game first launched. But that's all I wanted to point out in this video, mainly the changes in quests over time, especially with the recent characters, is quite saddening. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you enjoy this type of content, definitely hit that subscribe button, and also you may as well ring the bell icon to be notified of when I upload next. Have an amazing day everyone, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.